Hey guys, and welcome back to ParkerTrysThings. If you don't know already, go follow me on Instagram at ParkerTrysThings, tries with a Y. So today I'll be talking about my experience in getting into West Point and how I got into West Point. First off, I just want to say that these are my own opinions and my own beliefs, and they are no way affiliated with the Department of Defense or West Point itself. I just want to make this video because tomorrow would have been the day that I go off to Beast, which is Cadet Basic Training, if it did not get pushed back because of COVID-19. So I'm basically going to be talking about just my experience getting in, the application process, what they're looking for, and what I struggled with. So my path to West Point was probably different from a lot of others, yet not uncommon. I applied, I didn't get in the first year. I went to civilian college, did RTC there, and then reapplied, and then I got in. So I think I found out about West Point my freshman year of high school, and I knew that I wanted to go to college, but the idea of it didn't really get me excited, as all my other classmates are like, oh my gosh, I want to go, this is my dream school. So I didn't really have anything for that. And then I found out about service academies, and that really got me excited because I knew I wanted to serve and I knew I wanted to go to college, and that wrapped into one was the best thing ever. So that was basically my ideal dream school, and so West Point was it. In my junior year is when most of the summer leaders experiences started opening for all the academies, so I applied to all 3 of them, and I did not get into any. That said, I was not really academically sound in that way, which is what they're mainly looking for. They usually just take your PSAT or SAT score and then your GPA and class rank, which I was not at the top of my class, so that makes a lot of sense why I didn't get it. So for the application process, I did have to complete this twice, which was a pain, but it was worth it. So at the beginning of my senior year, that was fall 2018, I basically started the application process. You can start your application to apply your junior year, and that's with the summer leaders experience. It automatically gives you a candidate number. The application process consists of transcripts and grades, test scores, school evaluations, the CFA, which is a candidate fitness assessment, candidate statements, and nominations. 6 things. I would like to think of myself as a well-rounded person, but I believe that I struggled academically my senior year. My junior year, I was good. I came out with a 4.1, but I believe that I did struggle academically, and that's what kind of hindered me to get accepted the first round. But I wasn't really a bad student, but I feel my extracurriculars that I did kind of led me to not really excel as much as I could have in the classroom. My senior year, I was ASU president, National Honor Society president, FCA president, student representative on the school board, basketball team captain, softball team captain, and I played travel softball outside of school, and I ran cross country and did track and field. So I had 9 things that I was doing. All my senior year I had a 3.9, which wasn't bad, but then again my test scores, I scored around a 1300 on the SAT, and then my ACT scores were just not even in the ballpark. No. Thankfully, all service academies look at your physicalness, your academics, and your leadership skills. So it's not that they just look at your academics or just look at your physicality, which was very nice. And truth is, West Point didn't even open my application the first time around. I hit the physical and leadership areas pretty well, but my academics caught up with me, which was kind of sad. I was all ready to go, and they're oh, you need to get your test scores up, because my grades were not really there and my test scores weren't really there. So it was kind of excelling in the extracurriculars and leadership and all the other things, but my academics were not even I don't know, in the field. So it was kind of disappointing when I found out that I couldn't apply to West Point the first round, but I did apply to the Naval Academy and Air Force Academy. For recommendations, I asked my teachers from my senior and junior years, because I felt they both knew me better as a person in the classroom and how I am around people. For my CFA, which is the candidate fitness assessment, and that's basically just testing your physicality and strength, I asked my PE teacher to do it, because usually you can ask an ROTC or a former officer or anything like that, but we didn't have ROTC at my school, so I just asked my PE teacher to do it, which is one of the options. I got good scores on those, and I was in very good shape because I was during cross country season, which was very nice. So for the congressional nomination, or just any nomination in general, you can get one from your senator, from your state, your congressional district, or from the vice president. And each of them have their own different application process. I got a congressional nomination, and it's basically another application that you have to do. It involves like transcripts and test scores and like a statement, but I know that all districts do it differently, so it depends on where you live. I completed the application, I returned it to the congressman, and I got called in to do an interview. I got interviewed by a panel of previous graduates from all 4 different schools that were asking me what I see myself doing in the future, what I want to do. They just asked me about myself, all the things that like I talked about, what was on like my resume of things I've done, and they just got to know you. And after I finished the interview, I thought it went really well, and later that week, I believe, I received 2 nominations, one to the Naval Academy and one for the Air Force Academy. And by then, I finished the whole application process and I got a nomination. So from there, it was just a waiting game. I did have some medical record hiccups that I had to go through because you have to go through DODMER, which is just medical assessment, and it's just kind of a long process to get through. And so basically that was what was holding me up till the end. And 2019 in itself was just such a bad year. I don't know. It was just a lot. It was really hard for my family in general. So looking back, I'm kind of like glad I didn't get in, but yeah. I'll just tell you the story of mine as well. While we were out, I think it was in April, when we were out for a funeral, I received an email and it was like, sorry to inform you, but you have not been accepted, or you did not receive an appointment to the Naval Academy. And I was like, oh, darn, right? And so I was like, okay, like I had a backup, and that was Cal State San Marcos, and I was like, okay, that's fine, like I'll just go there. If anything happens, then I'll do ROTC if I don't get into Air Force. And in late April, I was denied admission to Air Force as well, so I was kind of like, okay, we're going to San Marcos and we're gonna do ROTC there. And it was very crushing, all of it, and sad because I wasn't really excited to go to college anymore, which is kind of a bummer because that was like the only thing that made me excited. But I learned looking back, like that was a blessing in disguise because random things happened and it was just like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I'm not going super far away from my family. So that was nice. But it also like helped me learn that I shouldn't put all my eggs in one basket, because I didn't really apply to a lot of schools. I was like, oh, I'm definitely like gonna go to an academy. Like that's where I'm getting into. So I don't need to apply to all these like state schools and all these things. I was just so confident. I mean, that was on me, but I learned a lesson, which is really good. So I ended up going to CSUSM and doing Army ROTC there, which was an amazing experience. And it really taught me a lot about the Army and its values that I did not really know, which was really nice having that like in my back pocket going to West Point now. And it really taught me the differences between civilian college and an academy, which I'm glad I kind of got to experience that like civilian college life before I head off. Heading into school away from home, I kind of had to do it all by myself this time, like without my parents' help, and reapplying to everything was a long process to begin with, and like redoing it, I was like, do I even want to do this again? I can just stay here. But I'm really glad that I did, because I was like, I'll just apply one more time, and if I don't get in, I'll just stay here because I have to restart when I go back, so I'll be a freshman again as a plebe. So I was reapplying to everything, just doing like the basic application kind of just to get in, and West Point actually opened my application this time so I could actually apply. So I applied to Navy, Army, and Air Force this time, and my transcripts and my grades are so much better. I got straight A's my first year of college. I had only a couple things to focus on, which was really nice, and I really knocked that out of the park. I didn't have to, but I did retake my SAT, and I did so much better. I don't know if it did help my chances of getting in, but I think it did. And with the extracurriculars, I did get involved in my new community really fast. I joined multiple clubs, I volunteered, I participated in the community, which was really fun actually. I didn't think, I was like, oh no, like high school was too much, I'm not gonna participate so much, but I actually did a lot more than a lot of people on campus did, which is pretty funny. For my school evaluations, you have to use your like latest year, so I could use my senior and my current professors, but because I like tested out of English, I didn't have an English professor, so I used my senior year English teacher, but I did also ask some of my professors in college. For my nominations this time around, I did branch out to my senators this time, but I also did apply for a nomination from my Congress member back home. I did not get a nomination for Navy or Air Force this time around, but I did get a principal nomination to West Point. If you don't know what that is, because I didn't really know what that is, it's very rare, and each congressman only gets one each year, and it is basically a automatic acceptance to the academy if you meet all the requirements, like physically and medically. So basically that's how I got in. The hardest parts for me, I would think, I like to think of myself as athletically capable, but getting pull-ups, I don't know why. Pull-ups. And unfortunately, the Army does have height and weight, and so does the rest of the military, but height and weight requirements I do not meet. I am short. I am 5'3", and I'm not small. It's very hard for me to like get down to a size that I've never been before. So that was like not a fun process, but I did it kind of more or less. I'm really thankful that I had such supportive people in my life really encouraging me to do this and continue to do this. All my teachers from high school were super encouraging and super supportive as I like asked them to reapply again and like going through the whole entire process. And my parents just like, great. But yeah, thank you so much for everybody. I've enjoyed and got to learn a little bit about what the application process is and a little bit into what a service academy entails and just like what I've been doing behind the scenes basically the last 2.5 years. So let me know if you have any questions or comments. Comment down below. But yeah, I would be happy to answer them or try to answer them as best I can. And in the meantime, have an amazing summer and stay safe. See you guys next time.